and creating what they call an arm rope. And that will allow us to swing across gaps because we can also attach our arms to these weird mouth things, and they happen in a lot of levels. That particular section right there with that big red rock with the arms, I don't really know what it is, a big fleshy, uh, I don't know, mass with. There's no good way to describe it. That doesn't sound horrible. That section, though, took a very, very long time the very first time I played that section. And actually, the very first time I played that section was cooperatively. This game, believe it or not, is, I don't know if it's I mean, like, I don't know if the primary intention of the developers is for it to be a co-op game, but it's definitely one of the big intentions of the developers, is that it is a cooperative game. It's a couch co-op game. And when you are playing co-op, each person only controls one arm of Troy. So you can imagine, I mean, you can see how interesting it is to control Troy just on my own. The arms just don't want to do what I want them to do all the time. So you can imagine what it's like to control it cooperatively. But that section with that big fleshy mass took us about, I don't know, 20 minutes to get through, and you saw me get through it in about 5 seconds. So what I just did there was I actually skipped that kind of... I didn't really skip it, I just, like, saved time by not worrying about activating that lombric, that worm, on my own. Because what you normally do is you detach your arm and you kind of feed it to the lombric as a you know, a sacrifice, so that it gets out of your way, and then you go right past. But that thing that I did with that first one is I threw myself into the checkpoint a little bit early while it was going, or while it kind of like introduces us to the lombric, and it does that by you know, having the lombric eat that person and drop our good old miner's hat. And so it gets the lombric out of the way without us having to get it out of the way on our own. And so it saves, you know, a good, probably about 6 or 7 seconds at least, I would say. I haven't timed a lot of this stuff, so a lot of that stuff I'll just kind of like estimate. But like I said earlier, the cave really just introduces, besides the remote arms that we've gotten, it just introduced... Oh no, oh no, oh no! It introduces these the mechanical bone crushers, which are just gears that can kill us like that. And that was really bad. If you get stuck on gears in a unfortunate way, you can find yourself getting squashed by them. So that was... that one hurt a little bit. I don't usually die there. Luckily, we got the checkpoint that wasn't too far behind it. So let's see if I can get past this without dying this time. Because you gotta kind of get up and over. And again, gravity is our enemy when we're going up, and it's our friend when we are on the ceiling. So that's why I like to stay on the ceiling when I can, because it's very hard to lift your head as high as you want it to be. Lift Troy's head as high as you really want and need it to be. So yeah. That was a sad death in my book. And so F in chat for Troy getting crushed by the mechanical bone crusher, even though I'm not sure Troy's head has any bones. I don't know. And so, as I will say, as I have said, and as I will say probably a lot throughout this run, this game goes through a lot of different you know, kind of genres and ways to play. And so that section where we had to control the crane is something interesting to do, and just something different that you wouldn't expect from a game that looks like this. What I'm about to do right here is that pipe right there leads to the Rat King, who we will see at the very end of the level. And if you get too close to that pipe, you will get sucked into it, and it wastes a lot of time. But not going on the ceiling there also is a lot slower, because you have to traverse, I will use that word again, you have to traverse a bunch of gears, a bunch of mechanical bone crushers, and it is just, it's a little more difficult, and it's a little bit slower than just going on the ceiling. So we just skip right by the Rat King and just say, hey, what's up? Yeah, but I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna come in your pipe. And we throw ourselves around it, but don't get too close because again, if you get too close, it'll suck you in. One thing we have to do throughout this cave level is clear gears away with rocks. That's a kind of a common goal of this section is just using rocks to get gears out of the way and pushing buttons and activating things that we need pushed and activated. So we're going to be doing both of those things. We are going to use these pressure plates to activate a button that will allow us to get a rock, that will allow us to destroy gears, that will allow us to push another button that will progress us in the game. So unlike the first time where I was controlling both arms separately, that first time I just had to push each button one at a time and it didn't matter what happened afterwards. That one I had to actually, come on, Rock. I actually had to have both buttons pressed at the same time. So if you just push one at a time, it doesn't work. You actually have to have them both pressed at the same time, and this rock is giving me trouble. So we're gonna break these gears with this rock again so we can push that button. If you love goats, I would look away. F in chat for this goat, of course. We love the goat, but sorry, goat. Yeah, you have to kind of be our sacrifice. This actually we already got one. I'm just gonna not fight that. Sometimes if you kind of get half stuck in the checkpoint, it's not worth trying to get back out of it because again, fighting gravity is a little more challenging than just kind of succumbing to the checkpoint spitting us out again. And it does spit us out kind of high, which is nice sometimes. But yeah, so here's more buttons that we're pressing. We have to put a plug in that. We've already done this once actually, so you've seen me do this already. But that one is a really fun setup where we stack both the buttons so we can, of course, or both the plugs, so we can, of course, stay on the ceiling because, you know, our mantra is on the ceiling if we can. We're going to arm rope right over. We'll just take this checkpoint because why not? It's a marathon, so anything can happen. We could die from more mechanical bone crushers, which, of course, we don't want to do, but has already happened once, so I'm not going to put it off the table. And coming up soon... Oh, no, come on. Okay, whew, good. I was going to say, I'm talking about it, and I was going to speak it into existence. I'm going to not talk about getting crushed by mechanical bone crushers. So here we are going to encounter the Rat King and go through this escape sequence from the cave. We're going to use the same mechanics that we did fighting Amadeus, where we're controlling arms coming out of the walls. If you went to see the Rat King, we could steal his crown, but we of course didn't. If there happen to be any, I don't know if there are any donations that we want to read. I know that was kind of an option, but if there are any, this would be a good time to read them because I kind of get focused during this because this part can get squirrely and weird with the physics. So if there are donations, I'll let them be read. Otherwise, you can just enjoy me tossing Troy's head around.
We don't have any donations to read, but I just want to say that I loved the Rat King. Bring him back, please.
We do not see the Rat King anymore throughout the game, but we do love the Rat King. He's a great character. Many of the characters in this game are kind of fleeting, and we actually are going to miss out on really meeting my favorite character, but we're going to miss out on it. Come on, get in there. Because of a very good thing, and I'll explain that when we get there. That'll be the end of the next section. So that was the cave. Of course, we're going to see Amadeus here sing for us, and we're just going to, you know, blow this place up and get out of here and say see you guys later. And so now we're getting to perhaps the most, I'm not going to say most infamous, it's just the section that has evolved the most for sure over the course of running this game. So this game is I don't even think it's a year old actually. I think it was released last August if I'm correct. I don't know if anybody knows that off the top of their head. I think it only came out last August, so it hasn't even been a year since this game came out. So of course the game itself is very young, but also the speed running of this game is quite young. We're still pushing the time down uh, every day, every week, even. And so I credit a lot of this run to one early runner of this game, Joda. He is he's one of the active members of the running community for struggling, and he posts a lot of videos about struggling in general, but he has discovered most of the quote unquote skips I will be using throughout this run, and I say quote unquote because we're not really, come on, chair break, we're not really skipping a lot of things. Like we're not going out of bounds. Or oh no, okay. That was a not good death at all. That was actually a really unfortunate death. We got kicked out of the saloon with a lot more force and lost our arms. So that's gonna kick us back a good number of seconds. But Joda found most of the quote unquote skips that I'll be using. Like I said, they're not really skips in the way that most of us would imagine skips of a game. We don't go out of bounds. We don't really glitch the game out, obviously, because this category is glitchless. So I credit a lot of things to Joda. And so a lot of what I'm using is what he discovered, because I came onto this scene for this game, the speedrunning scene, much later than everybody else did. As with any game, I think very early into its lifetime, it got a speedrunning community, and so the speedrunning community has been around for of this game has been around for nearly a year, just like the game has. I have only been running this game since about I want to say March or April. Actually, it might have been around February. But I have not been running this game for a very long time. So a lot of my success I have to attribute to Joda, because I basically just copied all the things he was doing. I also copy a lot of Comedy Brian. He is one of the earlier runners of this game as well. He was the first run that I watched. But this section, so back to why I'm even talking about this. This canyon section is the one that has gone through the most, I guess, revisions. There are a lot of parts throughout this canyon section where we can do some interesting things to. I guess you could call them skips. We're gonna be like doing big jumps and such beyond and over and around places that are intended. The intended path is. So I'll explain those when we get there. I was going to do a skip there with the sign, but I didn't get a good grab on it. That's one of the things about this game that makes it a little bit challenging to run, is again, because it's physics-based and because we have this interesting method of movement, you won't always grab onto things like walls or ceilings or objects the exact same way. And so you kind of have to just work with it on the fly. This particular part right here, I always like to point out why I love the game so much and how much I've evolved as a player. That particular part with that rope swing, the very first time I played this game on my own and beat the whole thing, that particular part on its own, just that rope swing, getting past that, I think it took me about 30 or 40 minutes just to get through. And you saw me do that in about, I don't know, 3 seconds. So that's the kind of like easy to learn, hard to master type thing. This is one skip that we use. Normally you would go all the way down there. You can see all the signs that are down there. You'd go to another geyser. But if you build up enough momentum, get a good grab on the sign, and just swing yourself around, you can just toss yourself up and not have to worry about any of that. There's also another skip right here. I'm going to grab the checkpoint before I do it because it can occasionally not be nice. We're going to grab onto this sign. And if you notice to the right, before I did that, up and to the right from that checkpoint, there were a bunch of sticks and cacti. That was before now. and it probably actually still would be. That was one of my biggest sources of frustrations in a run, because the way that I would grab the sticks was never the same. The way that I would throw myself off those sticks, they're like rubber, they're like kind of slingshots. It was never the same, and so I would about half the time die, and it would take a very long time to get back. But instead, we just go that route up and to the left. We go on that geyser and just blow past everything. The reason I take the checkpoint is, and I said it's a little squirrely, is because anytime a geyser is involved, it's it raises my blood pressure a little bit, because that's another one of the thing. Like I said, there's not really RNG in this game, but you can get lucky for some things. And one of those things that you can get lucky with is how the geysers spray you where they are spraying you. Sometimes they'll spray you in a very predictable way, just straight in the direction that they're pointing. Sometimes they will spray you kind of off kilter, and it will throw you off, and it's just bad news bears. Sometimes they'll spray you in the right direction, but it also rips your arms off, and so that can make things challenging as well. This section right here is another highlight of mine throughout the run. This is one of my favorite parts. It reminds me of those Flash games where you have to like just work on the like balancing the bike to get over everything. That's essentially what's happening here. And this is one of the parts where I like to point out the music of the game. So I'm gonna be quiet for the next 30 seconds and let you just enjoy the music, and then I'll come back and praise the music and everything and continue it. Until then, it's just a good old Flash balancing bike game. So there we go. We got through the dirt bike. It was great and wonderful, and the music was awesome. One good thing about speedrunning, we go through everything very quickly. One bad thing about speedrunning this game is we don't get to fully enjoy and experience all of the awesome songs that are in this game, because there are a lot of awesome songs in this game. I absolutely... Oh, we got a bad geyser there. I absolutely love the music in this game. I think the soundtrack is fantastic. There's a lot of really awesome parts, but like I said, the bad part about speedrunning is that dirt bike section took a lot less time than a normal casual run would, and because we didn't die, we kind of cut the music off early. So sorry you don't get to experience the great, amazing soundtrack that is the struggling soundtrack. But you know, that's life. Sometimes you don't get to experience all the music that exists in the world. So now what we are getting into is like the second half of the canyon section, which introduces these zip lines. It introduces a lot more ropes. There's a lot more just things that are hard to traverse. These hikers are abound. If you hold on to these hikers for too long, they will just drop down, and if you are still holding on to them, of course, they will take them with you, or take you with them. So this part is definitely tricky. It's tricky anyways, but it's very tricky when you play this game casually for the first time. I remember this section just taking a very, very long time to get through, just because swinging was something new that that is introduced, and especially with these zip lines where you have to kind of also go forward before you swing, and then you do these swings, and like I would always swing too far, or of course not far enough, or something. There was always something wrong with the way I was swinging. Oh, okay. This is not great. Okay, we're good. I saved it. Normally we would just launch off the end of that zip line, but I didn't get a good grab on it with both hands. We just launch off of that zip line directly over to here, and it would be all hunky-dory and good to go. So now, like I was saying before, I was talking about Joda establishing a lot of the good skips and a lot of the good routes in this game. up until recently, and I'm talking like last week recently, we are coming up to what was just a 4-minute button mashing session of A. And we would encounter Agamemnus, who is an abomination. And it's this kind of like, it's this dating simulator-esque sequence that's really entertaining. But for speedrunning, it's essentially just 4 minutes of nothing. And so up until recently, we didn't have a way to avoid it. We tried going to the menu and exiting out and reloading, but that never worked. And so we kept theorizing, is there a way to skip Agamemnus? Is there a way to skip Agamemnus? Is there a way to skip Agamemnus? And of course, last week sometime, I was messing around and I was like, I'm gonna try something. And of course, we are about to skip Agamemnus. It's really tough to do. This looks like I'm just kind of going slow and steady and nice and easy, and it's just walking up. But the movement and controls and the way everything works here actually makes this skip very hard. But that was really clean. And so what I just did there was I grabbed onto an invisible wall, and the reason it looked so awkward, my arms were like outstretched to the side, is there's actually also an invisible encounter plane that is right in front of the wall, and it extends out a little bit beyond the wall. And so if you even like touch that encounter plane, you initiate the sequence, and you can go back and just load out and do it again, but of course that wastes all the time that you made up, so it's like an extra 40 seconds or so. So the fact that we got on the first try is really fantastic. Up until recently, we didn't have a way to skip that, but that saves us, like I said, about 3.5 or 4 minutes of just mashing A, but just of course of the run at all, which is fantastic. So that was awesome when I discovered it. The one bad thing that came from it is I've been talking about these abomination god powers. I said the remote arms is the first one that we get, because technically when you play the game, you're supposed to get 2 of them. After you get through that Agamemnus dating simulator section, you get what is called the time alteration god power, which allows you to slow down time, and that makes this section, well, when you're playing casually, it makes this section possible, but when you're speedrunning, it just makes this section easier. And so what you're able to do with that slow-mo is, obviously you can slow down time, but you can grab onto these spears a lot easier. You can use slow-mo and grab onto the spears. You can use slow-mo, and there are those little arrows too, and you can grab them out of your way if they're in danger of hitting you in the face and killing you. So that was one obstacle I had to, when I first discovered Agamemnus skip, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, Agamemnus skip is possible. I was like, guys, we can skip Agamemnus. And then I was like, hold on 1 second. I have to try something before I actually show you guys how to do it. Because if we couldn't beat this part without time alteration, it made the skip basically null and void. It made it pointless. There was no use for it if we couldn't complete the rest of the game without it. Of course we can, it's just very difficult. Obviously we can, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it right now. So like this part, we would normally grab onto that first spear and slow-mo up there, open that up, and slow-mo and grab onto that second vertical spear, and it would be great, and there would be no problems. But now we have to do that thing that I just did, that swing around, which, funnily enough, Joda, good old Joda, he discovered that way to get through that part before Agamemnus skip was discovered. And so it just so happened that he found that, and then we got Agamemnus skip. So it was funny that it was just very, very useful to not needing time alteration, that he found that before the skip. In this part here, we would normally Okay, so I have to push that button. This part is really hard without time alteration because you have to push that button at a very specific time, and you also have to grab that spear. And it's very hard to push the button and get your arm back up in one swift motion, but of course we just got it, so that's awesome. So you can imagine how all of these parts where we need to like grab spears would be a whole lot easier with time alteration. I'm just gonna grab this spear because I'm feeling a little bit lazy. It'd be a whole lot easier with time alteration. I apologize for the intense music that is still happening in the background. That is a thing that happens when you do Agamemnus skip. Normally, when you are approaching Agamemnus, you would just be approaching Agamemnus at essentially full speed, and this would play right before you encountered Agamemnus, and then of course you would just get to Agamemnus, and this would go away because the next sequence would start. Because we never actually got to do the dating simulator, we never got to encounter Agamemnus, this music is still going, and it will continue to go until the end of the canyon section, which all that's happening right now is still technically part of the canyon section, and so I'm sorry for that. What I just did there, jumping over that arrow, is the absolute hardest part of this run with Agamemnus skip. You saw me like kind of standing upright and jumping over the arrow. That is because the arrow is just low enough, or just high enough, I don't know. It's at the right height where we can't go underneath it. But it's also at a good enough height where we can go over it. Oh, shoot. No, come here, spear. That's why I usually send 2 spears, but I lost my arm, so the second spear didn't really help us. But that arrow is just at the right height where we can jump over it with our arms completely outstretched. The complications of that and what make it so hard is that if you were to just hold yourself upright and let the arrow pass through, that is possible because it won't kill you, because it won't hit Troy's head. It only kills you if it actually hit Troy's head. So it won't kill you, but it will, of course, hit both of your arms, which is bad only because it takes a long time for them to regenerate. And so if you just held yourself up and let the arrow do that, you can do that, and the arrow will go under you and you'll be totally fine. You won't die or anything, but your arms will take, it just so happens, nearly the same amount of time that it takes for another arrow to launch at you, and so you eventually, essentially just gain 0 ground, because you will just, you'll lose your arms from the arrow, they'll regenerate, and then by the time you get back up, ready to get over the arrow again, you'll just lose them again. So what we have to do is we have to set ourselves up so that we can extend our arms fully, but we also have to jump over the arrow, and when we jump over the arrow, we regenerate our arms on our own. You can hit buttons on the controller to regenerate your arm in case it gets stuck in the wall or it happens to regenerate in a weird fashion. You may have seen me do that a few times throughout this run. So we have to jump over that arrow, regenerate our arms, and set up again to do it all over again very quickly. And so that part is incredibly challenging to do without time alteration. If we had time alteration, we could just move forward, grab that arrow out of the way, and just keep moving forward. It's a lot faster without it, that particular section. But because we can save 3.5 minutes doing Agamemnus skip, we do that instead. And so we kind of cheese this platform falling section. We are just, you'll notice me just sitting here basically doing nothing. All I have to actually actively do throughout this is grab 2 arrows, that's the second one, and just duck low enough that most of the arrows and spiky balls will just go right over us. So I love this section because we're just like not moving around, whereas casually when you play it for the first time, you're moving all over the place and kind of going crazy. So there you go, that's the end of the canyon. We've landed on mushrooms, and as far as the story goes, as far as people speculate how this story is progressing, we have inhaled the mushrooms, and those mushrooms are, well, they're mushrooms. And so we are now experiencing some weird psychedelic effects. When I said before that this game goes through a lot of different things, I meant it. And this last section here, we just finished the canyon. This last section here is called, the game calls it the Buzz section. Take that however you want to. I don't know why exactly it's called the Buzz section, but it is called the Buzz section. This is the last section, last big section of the game. But we're going to go through about 5 or 6, I forget how many it is, 5 or 6 different like mini sections of this. And so there are a few like micro sections, I guess, that we have to go through. So this first one of Buzz is called Mushrooms. Very creative name that we've named it. Of course, we call it Mushrooms because there are mushrooms everywhere. And you're going to see a lot of different things being introduced, a lot of different just things that are, they might come back, they might not. One thing that will come back is this like pink cloud stuff. It allows us to just like float around. We don't have to grab onto anything. It's just 0G. We get to float everywhere. It's kind of tough to navigate because the momentum that you have just keeps going. And so this will come back in some later sections as well. But for now, we're just getting through it. We still have geysers, but of course they're now rainbows and butterflies and flowers and some great stuff. Oh, why do we have to lose our arm there? Okay, yeah, see how the geysers can be mean? Sometimes they just, you know, detach your arm for seemingly no reason, which is awesome. We're not going to grab that checkpoint. We wouldn't anyway, but we're definitely not going to because spoilers here. So don't pay attention if you plan on playing this game and want to really experience some fun stuff for yourself. That checkpoint that we just passed is a fake. It will take you back to the beginning of Buzz, and it's horrible. And when you're speedrunning, you definitely don't want to do it. But when you even are playing casually, it's kind of a kick in the gut. And so we just don't go in it. Although they are very nice and they give you an achievement for going in it. So I guess do go in it anyway if you plan on playing this game. So we are about to finish the mushroom section. You saw me there. I actually used time alteration on my own. So there it is again, just to get through there without dying. You know, we just want to, you know, make it through without anything funny happening. So those are the only 2 times I'm actually going to be using time alteration on my own, because even though we never got time alteration, like I said before, we missed out on it. We do get it back when we finish Canyon, because that ending sequence with the platform, it just keeps activating it on our own. You actually can't get through that platform sequence without it, and so the game just activates it on its own anyway, as if you always had it. And so now we have the power again, and we can use it, but we don't need it, except for those 2 smaller parts. We don't even really need it there. It's just kind of a safety thing, just in case we, you know, are gonna die. So that was the absolute shortest section. Was the basketball section, the literal Space Jam. And we just come in guns a-blazing, and we get a slam dunk and go on our merry way. We will now be encountering a lot of ducks. Ducks are absolutely evil. Just keep these ducks in mind. Watch these ducks. They are going to, you know, be present at some pretty important parts of the run. So just keep these ducks in mind. That's all I'm gonna say. They're very mean in this Spider-Man section, where, of course, our friendly neighborhood flesh monster. Remember when I said this game is going to go through a lot of iterations and different things? Yeah, here's another one. I don't know, we're climbing a building, because why not? We went from escaping a lab to going into a cave and blowing up giant abominations, and now we're, you know, scaling buildings. Makes perfect sense to me. So we're just gonna scale these buildings. There's pink stuff that we might use here and there, but other than that, we have a lot of these arm ropes. which are fun, but they can be a bit of a pain if you are ever so slightly too far from them when you activate the grab. You'll either just lose your arm entirely because the way that you get your arm back after you detach it is simply by pressing the same button that you used to activate it and you used to grab the mouth. That was a really close call. So you'll either lose your arm. Come on. You'll either lose your arm entirely, or what tends to happen is you will grab the mouth thing, but you'll be so far away from it that your arms will actually just rip apart entirely and you'll fall to your death. And that is always the worst thing that happens. I really hope it doesn't happen here. If it does, obviously, I'll point it out to you. But okay, that was good. Made it through real clean there. Nice. We're getting through this stuff pretty good. I don't wanna call it early, but this run is still possible that we could get record on this run. We're not technically yet ahead of record pace, but we are in my mind because we just haven't gotten to the split that would say we were at record pace. So we still have a few minutes to save. Definitely a few seconds to save. So let's put some hype in chat and see if we can and pray that if you know what I'm talking about, we'll pray that the duck goes well. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we're gonna pray that the duck goes well. Here's a wonderful time if there are any donations that it'd be great to read them. Otherwise, I'll keep blabbing.
No new donations other than my $5 that I had for my light matter run. That's what I had there. But I did want to ask you some like basic questions about
Sure, yeah.
your experience with this game. What attracted you to this game in the first place? Like, how did you get into it? Like, what is your story behind it?
Sure. So when the first time I discovered this game, I was just browsing Steam, and what I was browsing Steam for was just a game that I could play with my friend. We were looking for a co-op game. We were like, let's find a game that we can play together because we're bored and we just want to do something together. And so I looked up co-op games, and this one popped up because, like I said before, I don't know if it's like the primary goal is to be co-op, but it's definitely a way to play the game. And so my first experience with this game was through co-op mode. And so I found it just browsing Steam, and I watched the trailer for it, and I was like, yeah, that looks like a weird enough game for me, because I like kind of this different art style and the different kind of weirdness of it. And so I was like, that looks like a really fun game. So I was like, hey, we should play this game. We should try it out. And he was like, yeah, sure, we'll do it. And so that's how I got into it. We played through, I think, most of the cave section. I can never remember if I think we did actually. We got through the canyon. We got to the canyon section. We didn't get through all of the canyon section, but we got through the whole cave and a little bit into canyon. And then we just, or maybe we didn't get into canyon. I don't know. But we stopped playing the game for whatever reason because we got frustrated at things because, as you can imagine, playing this game co-op is not easy, but that's kind of the point. And so after we played the game together, I was like, you know what? Do you mind if I play this on my own? Because I just like can't not play this game. I have to experience this game for myself. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead, go for it. And I was like, all right, great. I'm gonna go play this game. And I played through the whole thing on my own. I thought the just sections like this were so unique and interesting. There's a lot of humor in this game that we don't really get during a speedrun. And I finished the game on my own, and I was like, yeah, I need to speedrun this game. Because, again, it's one of those easy to learn, hard to master type things. And I was like, I can definitely do a lot better than I just did. The game tells you how many times you died at the end. And so, like, there's all these things that were just like, I can do that better. And so that's kind of just how I got into the game at all, and then got into the speedrunning. I watched at the time the record run of the game, and I was like, yep, we're just gonna do what they did, and we'll just try to do it faster. So that's how I got into the game, and I've been speedrunning it ever since. So
wonderful. Would you consider this like a beginner-friendly speedrun?
Absolutely, and the only reason I say that is because, as I mentioned before, it's still kind of in its infancy. Even though the run itself and runners for this game have been around for a few months, nearly a year at this point. Like I said, we're still ironing out kinks. We're still finding skips. There's always places to not die and do better on. And so even though it can be tricky to get through a first playthrough of it, I think speedrunning this game is absolutely beginner friendly. I encourage anybody to join us. The developers of the game are actually very involved with the speedrunning. They don't speedrun themselves, but they constantly follow our progress. And they cheer us on when we get a PB. They were rooting for us and waiting for us to get the first sub-hour run, which finally happened earlier this week, and they were very excited about it. So absolutely, I think this is a beginner-friendly speed run. It takes, a playthrough or two to just get comfortable with the controls, but once you do, I mean, you watch other people, the routes that they take. The routes are not hard. The skips aren't necessarily hard besides Agamemnon's skip, but if you're doing a run for the first time, just play through the dating sim and take the 3-minute hit, and that's it. So yeah, I would say it's absolutely beginner friendly.
That's wonderful, and I'm seeing here on SRC that you hold the wonderful world record of this game for in 59 minutes in real time at least. And
yes.
I wanted to get your expert opinion on like how low do you think, with the current knowledge of this speedrun, how low do you think it would be humanly possible to get this run down to?
I think I'm very confident that we could get a 55 something run. We could get this into the 55-minute range. Absolutely. And I would. I'm sure there are some of our biggest fans. The Discord for this game is fantastic. There are a lot of people who pop in and watch us, PB all the time and lower the record and whatnot. And there are some in particular who are like, yeah, I think back a few weeks ago, the best time, I think the record, I had it at like a 1 hour and 13 minutes, and I was like, guys, I finally got that. I'm gonna be pushing for 110, but I don't know how much lower it can go. And one of the people in the Discord was like, I think we could get it under an hour, and I was like, I don't know, that seems pretty tough. And of course, here we are only a few weeks later, and it's already under an hour. I'm very confident we can get it under 55 minutes. I'm sure there are people out there who are gonna say it can go even lower than that, but I'll call it 55 minutes something for sure. I don't know why we lost the arm there. My sum of best, at least for live split, says we can get it under 55 minutes, which obviously is humanly possible because we've played each segment as a human. So I will say humanly possible is under 55 minutes, probably likely very soon. We'll get in the 55-minute range, which would be very cool. Okay, so that duck fight went really well, which is actually super hype. You guys should be very excited about this because we are... you mentioned that the record is a 59-minute, 17-second. Actually, last night, I was participating in another marathon, and I happened to get the world record. I beat it last night, so the record currently stands at a 58-17. And we, right now, at the moment, are on pace to get under 58 minutes. So hype in chat right now. We got about 45 seconds if all goes well until time. Time is going to happen when we get Morpheus, that guy right there, that weird head. When we throw him into the acid to the top right, you'll see the acid over there. When his head touches the acid, that's time.
All right.
So if all goes well, you all are about to witness another record. the second one in 24 hours for this game. Normally what you're supposed to do is pull him down. And here comes time. Oh, come on, get over there. And time. Woo! Okay. All right. There we go. I got a 57:37.
That sounds about right. I started the timer 17 seconds late.
Okay, so there we go. There you go, everybody. There's a treat for you. Ending out day, what is this, day 2? I think that's day 2. I get a little hazy. So ending out your day 2 with another world record for struggling. We're gonna keep pushing this time down over the next few weeks. Please join the Discord, the Chasing Rats. They're who made the game. Join the Chasing Rats Discord. We have a speedrun channel that people are super hyping all the time. It's awesome. Come watch us and follow us and see how low we can push this. And thank you for having me here. This is I love showing this game. If you were even slightly interested at any point during this game, if you were like, wow, this game looks kind of interesting, I highly recommend it. It's very fun single player, but it's also very fun co-op. So if you have a friend you want to experience it with, do that. As Osborne asked me, is this a beginner friendly speedrun? Yes, it is. So if this game interested you and you just want to play it, get it. At least do that. If you want to get into the speedrunning of it, I recommend doing this. Please join us speedrunning this game. So I will be active, obviously, continue to be active over the next few weeks. I'm going to shoot for that 55-minute time and keep pushing it down where and when I can. So yeah, thanks for having me. If you want to let the credits roll, you can close us out, and at the very end it'll give us our death tally, and I will donate. Let's see, because we got another record tonight, man. Oh man, that's 2 records. I'll do what I did for last night's record, and I will do $3 for every death that happened throughout the run. So for the charity, let's hope it's more deaths than I think it is, but I think it's less than 10 for sure. But if anybody wants to join me in donating $1, 50 cents, or anything per death, we'll get that tally here after the credits roll, and we have a nice
wonderful
end credits scene as well. But I'll let you close out the night instead of me before that happens.
Oh, no worries, and you got me hooked. I've already put this game on my wish list just now.
Fantastic.
It's definitely on my radar now for sure.
I love it.
And thank you everyone so much for attending Gamegoyles episode 1, benefiting the Transgender Legal Defense and Education Fund. Get those donations in. We still have one more day tomorrow. We've already raised $426.07. We love to see it. Get those donations in for a wonderful cause. And we're going to be back in... We're going to be back in around 5.5 hours for Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide by Rablin. The entrance randomizer 1 and PC run. So if that's your cup of tea, come back in 5 hours. Come back and get that 5-hour nap, that 5 hours sleep,
quick rest,
and come back for Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide. We have a wonderful lineup for you tomorrow. Pokemon Gen 1 Randomizer, Future Cop LAPD, Summer Assault, Backyard Skateboarding, Castlevania Legends, Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest, Hollow Knight, and Alias. Closing out our marathon. Thank you so much, Sparky, for being here and for closing out day 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So here we get our nice end credits scene. Just before the death count comes up, you'll see that notice "No Party Allowed" sign. Of course, the party that they threw at the very beginning. I forgot to mention, if you saw the "Congrats Dave" banner, I think it's like a retirement party or something. I don't know what was happening. They threw a party, and of course we escaped. So now there are no parties allowed. That's a little bit of the humor that's in this game. Like I said, there's a lot more that we miss because of the speed run. But there's our little end credits scene. We're back back trapped in here, and we're gonna get our death count. So get that pencil and paper out so you can write down how many deaths I got and multiply it by the dollar amount that you wanna match it to. So here we go. We got only 2 deaths. Oh my gosh! Actually, wow. Okay, we only got 2 deaths. So you know what? I'll do I'll do $10 per death. I'm gonna kick it up to $20 because I think that's fair. We got to experience a record. So there you go, 2 deaths. If anybody wants to match me $10 per, you can do 5 or 1 or 50 cents. Like I said, doesn't matter.
Have you gone a deathless run yet?
So funny you should ask that. There is an achievement for the game that is to complete the game without dying once, and that is one of the only achievements I still do not have. So I have not yet done a deathless run. I think I do have one run that I did that only had 1 death, but not yet a deathless run. That will be a big help in getting to the 55 minutes for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well,
but that's all I have for struggling. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I'm glad you threw it on your wish list. I hope some other people did too. I see Joda here in chat, our good old other runner. He said sub-hour in-game time, please. We have yet to see an in-game time. The in-game timer, we still don't really know exactly how it works. I think it tacks on the dating simulator that we skipped. But you'll see it says 1 hour and 1. I've got the in-game timer down to 1 hour flat before, but we haven't yet seen an in-game timer sub-hour, and we're still waiting for that. So be on the lookout for that when, again, join the Discord, and when that finally happens, there'll be a big hype party about it in the Discord, I'm sure.
Wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much, Sparky, for being here. Thank you so much to everyone who donated, and to everyone in chat, lurking, not lurking, chatting, whatever it may be. Every single one of you helps a wonderful cause, and we're hoping that we can get hype tomorrow for all the runs that we've mentioned in the schedule. But other than that, unless you have any last words to say, we will be signing off for day 2 of Gamegoyles episode 1.
All right. See y'all tomorrow.
See you soon.